great.
Such a terrific film.
Oh, good. I'm glad you liked it. Fabby.
So good.
Good.
All right. Marco? Where am I? Okay. Well, as I said, congratulations on this film. It's fantastic. And I was asking, all the kids, I call them kids because I've grown up with them, but how do you keep topping yourself?
Well, the books get better. The books get more and more interesting in a way. All the books are wonderful, but it's Joe Rowling's work. It just continues to inspire. And I guess just the fact that Dan, Rupert and Emma are getting older and they can do more nuanced things now, and the material offers that opportunity. And gosh, I guess that's it. And I guess having made two movies already, you kind of build on all of that too. So you kind of, that inevitably gives you a platform to build on, and you get more confidence. And so there are all sorts of reasons, I guess.
I would think as you were shooting, even from the first movie that you shot and up until now, that you were probably thinking, boy, am I ever thanking my lucky stars that these three people were cast in these roles, that they've, made it these 10 years, and then as just keep getting better and better. Like, they're fantastic. Dan, Emma, and Rupert. I mean, seriously, who would have thunk 10 years ago that they'd be able to carry it off?
It's marvellous, and I thank my lucky stars. I thank Chris Columbus. I thank David Heyman for finding them initially. And they're remarkable young people, actually. They're quite level-headed. They've got great senses of humour. They're very modest. They're very ambitious. All the things that you could possibly... And, and they've not... There was a point, actually, when I was making Half-Blood Prince, when I was thinking, I was asked to do Deathly Hallows. And I thought, I wonder if one of them's going to go funny. Rebel. Just kick up a bit. Because you would naturally, under all that pressure, you would think that's a perfectly normal response. And quite the opposite. They've remained really grounded. They've always had a terrifically professional attitude. So they are. It's a remarkable thing, actually.
Why do you think that is? Because I don't think a Hollywood kid would have been able to do this, sustain it.
Do you know, I think it's a combination of things. I think there's a very down-to-earth ethic at Leavesden Studios where we work. They're surrounded by people they've grown up with, all of whom are very normal, decent people. They've got great supportive families. David Heyman, who started the series, is very level-headed, and the ethos that each of the directors have brought, including me, has always been about treating everyone with a great deal of respect. If they bring you your breakfast in the morning or drive you to work, or if they're playing a major role in the movie as an actor, everyone is the same. They're all helping make the movie. And I think that kind of atmosphere and that kind of attitude is prevalent throughout the filmmaking experience at Leavesden, and I think that's healthy and good. And they're great examples of that. I mean, Dan is remarkable when, for example, people come and visit set. He's a real ambassador and diplomat. He's hugely generous, as are Rupert and Ems, and all the young actors we work with. So it's a combination of all those factors, I think, that have kept them on the feet on the ground.
Yeah, as I was watching this film, I was telling them that, one of my favorite scenes actually was the dance scene between Daniel and, it was just, and to me it was more like watching two friends that have been just grown up together, been through the trenches, so to speak, together, but just, it was such a lovely moment. And I was wondering to ask you, how much of their real life, R-E-A-L, kind of spilled into their R-E-E-L life,
Yeah. I think I'm always encouraging them to try and think about their wider experiences, because you can only really get an authentic performance if you draw on your, things that are happening away from the film set. Because ultimately we're all storytellers, but you can only be an interesting storyteller if you experience life. And they're getting better and better at doing that, of bringing things in from outside. And so there was certainly an element of that, I think, coming into play.
Yeah. How challenging was it for you, David, shooting two films simultaneously? Wow.
Yeah. It was like running two marathons back to back. And it was tough. It was tough on me, but it was tough on my crew. But I had some great people working with me who, drove it through from a production point of view, from a scheduling point of view. Wonderful people who worked very, very hard and tirelessly. I found it challenging just to get to the end standing up, but I had a huge army of people with me who put in so many hours. The hardest thing actually was we filmed both parts. We checkerboarded, so part one a few days here, and then we'd go to part two for a day, then we'd go back to part one. And I wanted to make both films slightly differently. So that was the challenge for me. It was a bit schizophrenic trying to make each, going, oh my God, it's Tuesday, that's part two. Right, that means every shot will be slightly wider, and oh gosh, it's part one, that's verite, that's handheld, let's keep that look. So that was slightly tricky. But it was, gosh, I wouldn't have missed it for the world, actually.
Oh, God, yeah. For sure. I mean, I can't wait to see part two.
Yeah,
everybody was like, oh my God, it's over. We wanted to see more, for sure.
Good.
I can't wait.
Good.
And you're asking a lot of these, of these actors too, because as they get older, it's darker and darker and very emotional stuff. I mean, the scene with Hermione and Bellatrix, wow. That's heavy duty stuff, the torture scene in this one.
Yeah.
How did the two of them handle that? And I mean, because Helena's so fantastic, but when she gets into this role, I mean, she gets into this role. I mean, as does Rafe, right?
Do you know there was a that scene actually I did 2 takes, and the actual takes run for about 4 minutes. So it was, one thing I encourage the actors to do is to try and find a freedom within the frame sometimes. So it's the problem when you go action cut is there's a bookend there which doesn't allow them a freedom to be. And so with that, I wanted them to have a freedom, Helena and Emma to have a freedom to be, to explore that moment together. And Emma was really ambitious, she wanted it to be right. And Helena was great. And I just rolled the camera for 4 minutes on each of the takes. And my crew were around me. And Emma was screaming and screaming. And it was actually very distressing to watch. And at the corner of my eye, because I was watching, I could see my crew looking at me. And I could see they were going, when's he going to stop? When's he going to show cut? But I needed to let them find a place that was intense. And they did. And I only put 20 seconds of it in the movie. There's a lot more, but you needed to run it for 4 minutes to let them find that place. And Emma, I'm so proud of Emma, because she refused to not. She was so adamant that she wanted it to be right.
Yeah, it was terrific. Really.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, my heart went out for her because she's such a wonderful. Just very quickly, the last day of shooting must have been extremely emotional.
It was really tricky. I did this final shot with each of them, running it slow motion as they just jump onto these mats, and it was really, that was it. They said, this is the last shot. I said, yeah, you're going to jump, because they end up jumping into this fireplace and whizzing up into the air. And I said, you're trying to run away from this guy, Peter Mullen, who's the bad guy, and you're going to leap for your life onto this blue mat. And that was the last thing they did. And it was really moving. And there were some tears and lots of hugs. And it was, very sad.
Well, you know what? You've given us an amazing history, I'll tell you that for sure. And
cool.
This one is fantastic. And I can't wait to see part 2. That's
good.
Sure. Thank you
lovely.
so much. Pleasure to talk to you.
Nice to meet you.